If you're in search of a solid bed rack for your overlanding adventures, you should be checking out this Fishbone Off-Road Full Tackle Bed Rack for your 2020 or newer JT Gladiator. Now this will be a good addition for the JT owner who needs a tough system for their rooftop tent or any larger cargo that they can't or don't want to fit inside their cab area or their bed area. Now this is all around just a great pick if you need a bed rack that's capable of carrying all of your equipment as well for the trail or just your everyday adventures. Now, as you can see, I only have a couple of components on the table here, but this will have multiple rails and mounting locations on each side, which will allow you to customize this to your own personal preference as far as what you're looking to take with you. This will also be a full rack compared to other half racks, which will maximize your storage space as far as your vertical is concerned inside the bed area and be able to easily get in and out with pretty good headroom. Not to mention, this will be compatible with roll-up tonneau covers, and you can mount this in the existing bed rails and clamp it to the side, giving you some options when it comes to configuring your truck. This will be strong, made of a steel construction, and as you can see, it's going to have a nice textured black powder coat finish on top to protect the steel underneath and of course match with any other heavy-duty accessories. This will also hold up to 500 pounds of static weight safely, so you can keep some peace of mind when adding a ton of accessories to this rack. Now, in addition to that, this will also have a non-drill install and require no modification in order to get this onto your Gladiator, so you can keep some peace of mind there. And it is going to come with some gaskets so you can ensure that your bed is going to stay in mint condition. This is going to be roughly $1,300, and when taking a look at other choices in the category, that's not half bad. Now, some other choices may not have as many attachment points as this, or may not offer that adjustability in the top rails, while this will offer that. Now, on the flip side, some more expensive choices may have some extra bells and whistles like a third brake light or additional lighting, or even a flip down table on the side of the rack itself. Now, overall, I think if you're ready to pull the trigger on a rooftop tent, or you're just in need of a solid rack for the back of your truck that gives you some options, then this is going to be a great choice. Now, install will be straightforward at a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you about 2 hours to get the job done with some basic hand tools. However, that is going to wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and get into a detailed breakdown of the install step by step right now.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun and a 19mm socket. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be installing a bed rack on our Gladiator, so let's get started. So our first step is to get our 3 main hoops laid out. Now our frontmost one is going to have this Fishbone logo on both sides. Our middle one's going to have no logos, and our rear is going to have our Fishbone logo on the top right in the middle. So once we get these all laid out, we can start installing our next pieces. So once we have all of our main hoops laid out, we can get our top support and lay that across. We're gonna have one on each side. And then once we have that laid out, we're gonna be using one of our carriage bolts with a carriage bolt washer. Those are gonna come through the top, and then on the bottom side, we're gonna get a lock washer and a nut. So now once we have it laid across our 3 arches, we can go ahead and take our 30mm carriage bolt and put that through the top. And then we'll be using our carriage bolt washer. And then our lock washer. And then our nut. So now with our top bars, we have a slot up here on all 3 of our hoops that makes us able to slide it left to right. So once you get this adjusted to how you like it, I've just got it centered up. You can take a 19mm socket to tighten down the nuts. And then once we've got this side tightened down, we can do our other side top bar. Now once we have both of our top bars installed, we can move on to our side bars. Now these are going to be the wider of the two. So we'll line those up. We're going to be using those same 30mm carriage bolts as before. So I'm just going to throw a few through the holes just to hold it in place. So now once we have our 6 carriage bolts supporting the weight of our side bar, we can come into the bed of the truck and start putting our hardware on. Now we're going to be using the same hardware set as our top bars, with our carriage bolt washer first, followed by our lock washer, and then our nut. So now once we have our hardware hand tight on our side rail, we can take that 19mm socket to tighten down our nuts. And then once we have all of our bolts tightened down on this side, we can do the same thing on the other side. So now once we have our rack fully assembled, we can begin to bolt it down to our bed. Now we have these brackets. We have a 90-degree bend and a 45-degree bend. The 45 is going to go up. So we're going to be using our longer carriage bolts. These are 50 mil. We're going to be putting these through the back side. And then we can slide them in. And then we'll be using one of our regular flat washers, followed by our nut. And then we want to push that bracket up as high as we can get it. And then we'll take our 19mm socket to tighten these 2 nuts down. And then once we're done with our first bracket, we can do the same thing for our remaining 5 brackets. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Fishbone Off-Road Full Tackle Bed Rack for your 2020 and newer Jeep Gladiator JT. Thank you for watching, and for all things Gladiator, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.